Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos. So, who do you think is going to win the Manchester derby today? Manchester United or Manchester City? I would like to know in your comments below, and I'd also like to know your predictions for the game. But I do expect, the game today against Man City is going to be an intriguing game. Of course, if we do beat Manchester City today, it will be the first time we've done the double over them in the Premier League for a decade, because the last time we did a double over Man City in the Premier League was back in 2010 under Alex Ferguson. Also, too, if we do beat them today, it will be the third time that we have beaten Manchester City this season, because we've already beaten City twice this season. We're beating them in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg by 1-0. Matic, of course, had scored the only goal of the game. And we also beat them in the league earlier on in the season by 2-1 at the Etihad Stadium. Now, I did say, didn't I, on my predictions yesterday, I fancy Manchester United to win this game against Manchester City. I know, obviously, City are strides ahead of us at the moment, but one of the main explanations why I think Manchester United are going to overcome Manchester City is because, we've done really, really well against elite opposition this season. I think we've registered like 14 points against elite opposition this season. Obviously, we, took points off Liverpool. We've beaten Chelsea 3 times this season. Solskjaer's beaten Chelsea 4 times, since he became Manchester United manager. So he's had a, great record against Chelsea. Also, too, we've beaten Tottenham. Solskjaer's beaten Tottenham twice. Also beaten Paris Saint-Germain. So, we've done really, really well against elite opposition. And also take into account, we are in a good run of form. We are unbeaten in our last 9 games in all competitions. And I think 7 of our last 9, we have kept clean sheets. So we are keeping a lot of clean sheets, lately in that. On the other hand, though, Manchester City, themselves are in a good vein of form. They have won their last, 5 or 6 they've won the last 5 or 6 in all competitions. Of course, the last game they played, they beat in Sheffield Wednesday, so City are into the FA Cup quarter-final. City can win the FA Cup, obviously. Obviously, they've already got some silverware on the board. They've won the Carabao Cup of Manchester City. That's the 3rd Carabao Cup in a row now that Manchester City have won. They've won it numerous times of Manchester City. Also, too, they had that historic win against Real Madrid the other week. That was the first time they'd ever beaten Real Madrid in the Champions League. And I think City are regarded as one of the favourites to win the Champions League. But the Champions League is definitely a priority for Manchester City. Because obviously, that's the only trophy that City haven't won in their history is the Champions League. Obviously, the furthest they progressed to in the competition is the semi-finals of the Champions League. Guardiola has won it as a manager. He won it during his time with Barcelona, did Pep Guardiola. Of course, City know they're not going to win the league. They're sitting, 25 points behind Liverpool now, reflecting on Liverpool's 2-1 win yesterday against Bournemouth. I think City do have 2 games in hand, including the game today against us. So City do know, they are going to get second in the Premier League. Obviously, though, this season they haven't been as good in the league as they were in the past 2 seasons, because last season City finished on 98 points. They won it by a point. Obviously, the season before, City registered 100 points. And of course, Liverpool are looking to break that record this season. Like I mentioned, I think Liverpool are going to finish on minimum 100 points, probably more than 100 points this season. But Guardiola, like I mentioned, he's now into his, 4th season at Manchester City. He's won over 100 games in the Premier League, so his win ratio is actually, very impressive. Also, he has won a total of 8 major honours as Pep Guardiola. He's won 2 Premier Leagues with City. He's won the Carabao Cup 3 times with them. I think, is it 3 times? Obviously, the FA Cup. So yeah, he's won a total of 8 major honours. Obviously, last season City won the domestic treble, so they replicated, what we did back in 2007, 2008 and 2009, because we were the last team to win 3 titles on the trot. And, they have won back-to-back Premier Leagues of Man City. So there was hope in this season that they could have won their 3rd title on the trot. Definitely in that. But yeah, they won the domestic treble last season, like I mentioned. That's, they replicated, what my club did back in 1999, because we won the treble in 1999. And Solskjaer recently come out and quoted that it's impossible for teams to emulate our treble winning season and that. But yeah, so City, of course, do want to win the Champions League, definitely. Obviously, City are banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. Obviously, there has been a lot of narratives in the media saying that, Pep Guardiola could leave Manchester City this summer because obviously, 2 years is long to wait. Obviously, City have appealed against the decision. They have thrown a lot of money at the appeal of Manchester City. Don't forget there was reports coming out the other week saying that, City could get points deducted from them in the Premier League. But I don't see that happening because that's not the adequate punishment. The adequate punishment is City are banned from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons, and all of that. But yeah, so it's Solskjaer against Pep Guardiola again. They're set to go head-to-head for the 4th time this season. And if we win today, Solskjaer would have beaten Pep Guardiola 3 times, as Manchester United manager. Now, I've already given you some team news building up to the game. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne, there's been rumours saying, he's going to be out for the game today. But I think actually, he could participate. Could Kevin De Bruyne? He's a very imperative player for Man City. We do know that Leroy Sané isn't going to be involved. He's been out for the vast majority of the season. Obviously, Laporte is out with injury. He came off in City's 2-1 win against Real Madrid. Raheem Sterling has just come back for Manchester City. So City have had quite a few injuries this season. Like I mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see how, Pep Guardiola and Manchester City do approach this game. They're going to try and obviously, tactically nullify us in Manchester City. They could go with the exact same, tactical game plan, as they did against Real Madrid. So they could approach this game like they did against Real Madrid. Because against Real Madrid in the first leg, City put Gabriel Jesus in like a different role. They put De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva as false number 9s, don't forget. And, they tactically nullified Real Madrid in that game. So it will be interesting to see how City, do approach the game. Like I mentioned, City have got a lot of good attacking players that could cause us all sorts of problems, definitely. For us, obviously, the good news is Maguire is now back fit for Man United. I think he's back fit because I think Solskjaer did reveal that Harry Maguire is touch and go to be involved. He did miss the derby game with an ankle injury, did Harry Maguire, but obviously his injury wasn't severe. Maguire was injured earlier on in the season though. And like I said, I think Harry Maguire's done really, really well since we got him from Leicester last summer. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. He's the most expensive defender in the world and he's the second most expensive signing at the football club. You've got to say he has addressed our defensive deficiencies well. And we did make the right decision, by giving him the captaincy on a permanent basis. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure back in January because Young went to Inter Milan after he endured 8.5 years at Manchester United. But yeah, Maguire, to be fair, Maguire has done really, really well for the football club. And yeah, so he's touch and go. And Wan-Bissaka, don't forget he's recently been out with a back injury. He did miss the game against Derby. I think he should be available to play today. Also, too, Daniel James has missed the last 2 games with injury. I do believe, from my own perception, Solskjaer has been overplaying Daniel James this season. Yes, he has. He did say that he'd been further assessed yesterday, but I haven't really read into more news about Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James. Yeah, obviously we know the long-term absentees is Rashford. He's out until, could be out for the rest of the season. It's a shame that he can't play today, Marcus Rashford, because I said a lot of aspects of his game have improved. He has been one of our best players this season, and, he does score, a lot against elite opposition, does Marcus Rashford. Obviously, I think scored in the fixture earlier on in the season, but he has got a back injury as Rashford. Solskjaer did reveal that, he should be fit for the European Championships this season. Lee Grant's a long-term absentee. Pogba's now close to returning. We expect to see Paul Pogba for the game against Tottenham next weekend. Like I mentioned earlier on, that's also going to be another tough test for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Man United, is the Tottenham game, even though Tottenham are not in a good run of form at the moment. So let's put that into the equation. So let's put that into the equation. Tottenham are not in a good run of form. Obviously, the good news is for us, though, Bay's just come back. And since he's come back, Bay's done really, really well. Obviously, he's very injury prone. He's now into his 4th season as a Manchester United player. We paid £30 million in from Villarreal back in 2016. Fosu Mensah, Tuanzebe are also back now. I'm surprised they weren't involved against Derby. But yeah, it's good that, players are, now coming back from injury. Bruno Fernandes, I do believe, will be playing today. This will be his Manchester derby debut today, Bruno Fernandes, because it's going to be his first ever Manchester derby. I do believe he'll score today, will Bruno Fernandes. As you all know, he's making the difference in the team now. He's Bruno Fernandes. He's already scored, 3 goals for the club, and he's provided 2 assists, and definitely making a difference in the team. His awareness is good. He's very instrumental. His decision making is very, very good. And yeah, he's doing really, really well. And Solskjaer's been urged to build a team around Bruno Fernandes, So I think he's one of the best signings we've made since the Alex Ferguson era. And I think we've recruited over 30 players since the Alex Ferguson era. But definitely I think, he will score today, will Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, Solskjaer, was asked about the partnership of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. And he's thinking about it, because I do presume they complement each other fantastically well, would Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. Obviously, Solskjaer's, basically praised Bruno Fernandes. He knows that Bruno Fernandes, of course, is making the difference in the team. Odion Ighalo, I expect him to make his full Premier League debut today. I hope he can start, Odion Ighalo. And he's done really, really well. Odion Ighalo's got 3 goals now for the club in just 2 starts. He scored twice against Derby on Thursday, which was very, very good to see. Was it on Thursday? Yes, it was on Thursday. He also scored in the Club Brugge game. And like I mentioned, Odion Ighalo, I said to you, didn't I? He's a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford. He is the focal point. He's a different type of centre-forward. And he is a lifelong Manchester United fan. Solskjaer was talking a lot recently about Odion Ighalo. And he did say he could decide to make his transfer permanent. This is what it basically said. We've got him on loan at the moment. He's a 6-month loan. Manchester United are paying like a third of his wages, so I do expect him to be involved. Martial probably will be involved as well. He's rejuvenated himself recently. Didn't start against Derby, but came on. Martial has also sustained a few injuries this season. Luke Shaw, I expect him to be involved, because Luke Shaw's been in very, very good form. He was out for 2 months earlier on in the season, was Luke Shaw, but since he's come back, he's just been absolutely immense as Luke Shaw. And, he scored against Derby. That's only his 2nd goal for the football club in 197 appearances he's made in all competitions. I think he's now into his 6th season with Man United, because we got him from Southampton back in 2014. And, Luke Shaw has received a lot of criticism, obviously reflecting on his injuries and his poor run of form. He has received a lot of criticism, but, we know that he's had some bad spells as Man United player. Don't forget he had bad disputes with Jose Mourinho, but he's highly experienced, is Luke Shaw. He may start Brandon Williams today. I think Brandon Williams is also a very, very good fullback, but obviously Solskjaer will go with Luke Shaw on the experience, because Brandon Williams is still inexperienced. He's in his 1st season in the senior squad for us. Lindelof may not start, but may be involved in the game, like I mentioned. If Bissaka's not available to play, I do believe Dalot will keep his place. And yeah, David De Gea, of course, will be back in goal. So he will make changes, from the 3-0 win against Derby. I think, today Solskjaer will definitely go with a 3-5-2 formation. I think it's beneficial to go with that formation, especially against the elite opposition. It's very beneficial. From my own perception, we look more expansive with 3 at the back. Some people have got different perceptions. Obviously, on a regular basis this season, Solskjaer has been going with a 4-2-3-1 formation. But for my own perception, that doesn't seem to suit our standards, does that 4-2-3-1 formation. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does approach this game against Manchester City. A lot of rotation will be made anyway, because we have got games coming up thick and fast. After the game today against City, we've got Lask in the Europa League last 16. We should be winning that. Then obviously Tottenham next week. And then I think it's the 2nd leg then against Lask. So games are coming up thick and fast for Manchester United. And another reason why we've got to beat Manchester City today is to obviously, keep our hopes up for that top 4. Because as it stands at the moment, we are 3 points behind top 4. Chelsea kick off very shortly against Everton. You saw my preview for that game yesterday. I probably won't be doing if I do decide to do a match reaction for the Chelsea Evan, he probably won't be today, more than likely. But yeah, we need to win to keep our top 4 ambitions alive, because there's a lot of teams now in that top 4 race. Obviously our other ambitions are the Europa League. Yeah, that's definitely an ambition for us, because it's a chance of getting some silverware on the board. Plus, it's another route to Champions League qualification, and we won the Europa League back under Jose Mourinho. And also to, the FA Cup is a priority for us, and there's a great chance we can win that. But there's still a lot of good teams in the FA Cup. We haven't won it since 2016. We did win it under Louis van Gaal, the FA Cup. We've won the FA Cup a total of 12 times. We're into the quarterfinals for the 6th season now in a row. So it would be good for us, to get some silverware on the board, because we haven't won out yet in terms of silverware under Solskjaer. And of course, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now for around 14 months. So he has been here over a year. I think he's been permanent boss now for almost 12 months. Or is it 12 months he's been permanent boss? And yeah, I still don't think Solskjaer is a long-term solution for Manchester United, but I probably would now be determined to give him another season at the football club. If we do qualify for the Champions League, then I think we'll give him another season. If we don't, on the other hand, then maybe he will be sacked at the end of the season, will Solskjaer and that. But, we have enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season ever. But on the other hand, Manchester United can still finish in the top 4. Yes, we can and that. But, I've got a lot of element of concerns about Solskjaer. Like I mentioned, he is inexperienced as a manager. Obviously, Manchester United is the 3rd club he's managing in his managerial career, because before he was at us, he was at Mould and he was at Cardiff. Not only his record at Man United's been disastrous since he got the job permanently, his record at Cardiff was also disastrous, and he got Cardiff relegated. And this is the main explanation why he did get sacked from Cardiff, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But, on the other hand, though, looking at it, the longer Solskjaer stays in the job, he's going to be gaining more experience as a manager. So that's a positive, you can take into account. Also too, Solskjaer's got a lot of trust with it in his young upcoming players. Because the young players have been given their chances, to be fair. And like Solskjaer did reveal when he at the start of this season, the young players would get their chances. But when he first got recommended in, he did say, all the players would get their chances to express themselves. And to be fair, this is what, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done. This is, what he has done. We did make a mistake giving him the job permanently, but we're giving the job permanently reflecting on, what he did when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period, because he did really, really well in that 3-month period, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. If Manchester United do decide to sack Solskjaer, I think we'll either recommend Mauricio Pochettino or Massimiliano Allegri as his replacement, because there have been 2 managers on our agenda who could replace Solskjaer. Obviously, there's been a lot of reports saying Pochettino now wants to return to management. He did actually, say that after he got sacked from Tottenham, did Pochettino. I'd like Pochettino to be our next manager. But we've already sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. We sacked David Moyes, we sacked Louis van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. And Manchester United are not really known for the sacking football club. And Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Solskjaer believes if he's given the right amount of time that, he can emulate into the next Jurgen Klopp, because Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool. I can definitely assure he won't invoke Ferguson's legacy, but Ferguson, on the other hand, didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United. It took him, 4 years. It took him over 4 years to win something, but what he went and accomplished after that, was just absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely, unbelievable and that. But, we have been inconsistent in the last 6 or 7 years. We have been playing a lot of catch-up, but there's a lot of explanations why we've been so inconsistent. One of the main explanations is reflect on the amount of mistakes we've made. I don't like the way the football club's been run for the last 6 or 7 years, because obviously a lot of United fans have got doubts about the club's ownership. The Glazers have been here since 2005. Obviously, we've got a lot of doubts about Ed Woodward. Obviously, I've got a lot of element of concerns about the board. And I did say there's various issues at the club, and I said we need someone to come in to change the culture of the football club. And we've got to bring the right players in the summer, who are going to elevate Manchester United forward and get us back, to being title contenders. We've got a lot. We're making plans for the summer already, which is very, very good. And Ed Woodward has revealed he's laid the foundations for long-term success with Solskjaer. He is willing to back Solskjaer. Obviously, the players that are on our agenda is obviously Jadon Sancho, I've just been reading recent reports about Jadon Sancho, and it did say that he's put out on Instagram that he's on his way to Manchester United this summer. Borussia Dortmund have quoted out that they want around 120 million for Jadon Sancho, minimum 100 million pounds. Reportedly, Manchester United are willing to offer him around £200,000 a week to join the football club. But Jadon Sancho would dramatically improve us. There's also been a number of other clubs that have been in for him. Obviously, Chelsea, Madrid, Liverpool, PSG, all of them have been in for Jadon Sancho. But I think his preference is a move to Man United. Also, too, Jack Grealish is another player on our agenda. We're basically seeing Grealish as the adequate replacement for Pogba. It'd be interesting to see how we'd line up if Sancho and Grealish came in the summer. We'd probably put Jadon Sancho on the right because that's his predominant position, even though you can play him centrally. And obviously, I think our first choice midfield trio would be Fernandes, Fred and Grealish, if Jack Grealish, of course, was to come in the summer. And probably Grealish would cost us around, 60 million or something like that. Probably around £60 million. We want to get a deal finalised for Grealish as soon as possible. So yeah, we have got quite a few players on our agenda who we could go in for. We've already spent 220 million since Solskjaer came in, and Solskjaer has recruited around 5 players in and that. Like I've already given you an update, Matic is staying at Manchester United now because he has agreed a contract extension, so he will be staying next season. I think Matic has signed a 2-year deal with Manchester United. Reflecting on his good run of performances, he isn't first choice. He's behind the likes of Fred and McTominay, but when McTominay was absent, when he was out with injury for a while, I thought Matic, did really, really well. He was hitting the ground running, so you can say maybe he does deserve this new contract because his current contract was due to expire at the end of this season, was Nemanja Matic, definitely. But I expect around 4 or 5 players to leave Manchester United this summer. But yeah, who's going to win the Manchester derby? Manchester United or Manchester City? Let me know in the comments below who you think is going to win this game. Should be on for the match reaction later on. It won't be straight after. If I'm not on later on today, it will be tomorrow morning, my match reaction for the Man United Manchester City game. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon, and enjoy the game. Thanks for watching.